All right, my holy students, we are going to go over the idea that we talked about or that you learned yesterday in the Gemara or through your bid sheets, but they got a little bit confusing in terms of really understanding the back and forth. And to explain it a little bit better before you kind of break it down in your Gemara packet, what we're going to do is as follows. We're going to spend a moment just on the outside just explaining the sugya outside. And then for those who maybe want to see it in the words, I'm then going to go over the Gemara again in the bid sheets in the words itself. So first for the kind of the background piece over here. Let's understand it like this. The first case in the Mishnah was, I wrote Mishnah in big letters up here, was that on Erev Pesach, so Pesach, Seder night is Wednesday night. We're talking about Wednesday during the day. You have to stop eating samuch lemincha. You have to stop eating samuch lemincha, close to mincha time. That's what the Mishnah said. So the Gemara was very bothered by this. Why did our Mishnah specify Erev Pesach? Why did it specify that only on Erev Pesach you have to stop eating samuch lemincha? Really, you have to stop eating samuch lemincha on all chagim, on all Erev Chagim, and all Erev Shabbos. You always have to stop eating samuch lemincha. And it supports this question by quoting a Braita. It quotes a Braita that has two opinions in it. The opinion of Rabbi Yehuda and the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. And what the Braita says is, on Erev Yom Tov and on Erev Shabbos, so the Braita is not speaking about Erev Pesach necessarily. It's speaking about Erev Yom Tov, so Erev Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret, Shavuot, or Erev Shabbos. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you have to stop eating at Mincha. And the Braita goes on to say, according to Rabbi Yossi, you have to stop eating at Shkia. So the Gemara brings up this Braita, again, really highlighting Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, that seems to say on all Erev Yom Tov and all Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Mincha. So if it's true by every Yom Tov and every Shabbos, so then why did our Mishnah specify only on Erev Pesach you have to stop eating at Mincha time? Isn't it on all Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, like this Braita says? So the Braita was quoted really to highlight Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, to support its question of why did our Mishnah only specify Erev Pesach? That's the Gemara's question. And the Gemara gives two answers. The first answer is very obvious. The first answer, I'll make a big one over here. The first answer is the answer of Rav Huna, who's in Amora. And Rav Huna says what Shira Roth said yesterday in class, in my 9th, 10th grade class, nailed this one. But Rav Huna says, no, our Mishnah is only necessary according to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Our Mishnah that we learned in Psachim, Tzadik Ted Amud Bet, is only necessary if we are focused through the lens of Rabbi Yossi. It's only necessary for Rabbi Yossi. Because Rabbi Yossi said, on Erev Yom Tov and on Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Shkia. That was his opinion when it came to Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos. So from or through the lens of Rabbi Yossi, our Mishnah was very necessary to say that Rabbi Yossi only says you have all the way until Shkia on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos. But our Mishnah says on Erev Pesach, and Rabbi Yossi would agree that on Erev Pesach, you have to stop eating earlier. You have to stop eating samuch lemincha because of the, like we talked about, the chiba, or to build up the desire, the tava, to enjoy your matzah. So again, answer number one to our question of why did our Mishnah only specify Erev Pesach? Because our Mishnah was being written, or was necessary, only through Rabbi Yossi's opinion. Our Mishnah was taking Rabbi Yossi into effect, not Rabbi Yehuda. Because Rabbi Yossi says, hey look, on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Shkia. On Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos. But on Erev Pesach, Rabbi Yossi would say, you have to stop eating even earlier. You have to stop eating samuch lemincha. So I made a little chart down here just to fill this in. We got Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. We have Erev Pesach, which is our Mishnah. And we have Erev, well, I guess I could have wrote Yom Tov and Shabbos, but I'll just focus on Shabbos over here in our Breita. So according to Rabbi Yossi, on Erev Shabbos, which is our Breita, you have to stop eating at Shkia. And our Mishnah is now very necessary through this opinion. Our Mishnah is necessary to teach me that on Erev Pesach, Rabbi Yossi would say, you have to stop eating samuch lemincha, close to mincha, at the beginning of the 10th hour. Why? To build up desire for the matzah. Okay? To build up desire for the matzah. That's the opinion of Rabbi Yossi. Really, Rav Huna explaining that our Mishnah really works with Rabbi Yossi's opinion. It doesn't work with Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, which seems to make sense. Comes along Rav Papa, and his answer is eventually rejected in the Gemara, but it's good to know it for now. Rav Papa, another Amora, comes and says, no. Our Mishnah, I said no too many times there. Our Mishnah can even work, is even necessary according to Rabbi Yehuda. Even Rabbi Yehuda, right? Even from the lens of Rabbi Yehuda, it was important for our Mishnah to specify only Erev Pesach, because there is a special din, there is a special halacha that I'm learning that's unique about Erev Pesach, that's different about Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, right? According to our first answer, Rav Huna, right, it was obvious why there was something special about Erev Pesach, that our Mishnah needed to teach Erev Pesach, because it's a different halacha. By Erev Shabbos, you have until Shkia. By Erev Pesach, you have Samuch Lamincha. Rav Papa says, no, our Mishnah is necessary. There's a necessary teaching about Erev Pesach, even according to Rabbi Yehuda. So what's that? They seem to be saying the same thing. In the Breita it says, on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, Rabbi Yehuda says, stop eating at Mincha. The Mishnah says on Erev Pesach, stop eating at Mincha. What's the difference? So I kind of tricked you a little bit over there. There is a difference. I skipped a word. Rav Papa says, our Mishnah is even necessary according to Rabbi Yehuda. It can work even according to Rabbi Yehuda. Because in the Breita, what Rabbi Yehuda was teaching was, on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Mincha, at Zman Mincha, which like we said is at 9.5 hours. Full 9 and halfway into the 10th hour. 9.5 hours. But on Erev Pesach, and what's unique about Erev Pesach, that again, we would need a separate Mishnah to teach me about Erev Pesach, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, because you have to stop eating Samuch Lamincha. You don't have until 9.5 hours. You only have until the end of the 9th hour. You have to stop at the 9th hour. Samuch Lamincha. That's the distinction between Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbat and Erev Pesach. So if we were filling in for Rabbi Yehuda, he would say, look, on Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Mincha, right? But according to the Mishnah about Erev Pesach, you have to stop eating Samuch L'Mincha. That's the distinction. So what we basically tried to say is, look, the Gemara asked the question, why did I need a special teaching? Why did I need my Mishnah to specify on Erev Pesach, stop eating Samuch L'Mincha? Isn't that true about all other Chagim also? Why did our Mishnah only focus on Erev Pesach? Right? Say on all things you have to stop eating Samuch L'Mincha. Right? We got this Breita that says you have to stop eating Samuch L'Mincha, stop eating at Mincha. So why did we need our Mishnah? Right? What was necessary about this Mishnah to specify Erev Pesach? So in the end, we really have two answers. According to Rav Huna, we have the answer that our Mishnah was really necessary through the lens of Rabbi Yossi. Because Rabbi Yossi says, when it comes to Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, you have to stop at Shkia. So comes our Mishnah to say, Erev Pesach is an exception, that you have to stop eating even earlier at Samuch L'Mincha. That's answer number one. Answer number two, Rav Papa says, no, our Mishnah, the Chiddush of our Mishnah, our Mishnah is even necessary according to Rabbi Yehuda's opinion. Because according to Rabbi Yehuda, on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Mincha time. On Erev Pesach, you have to stop eating Samuch L'Mincha. So I know it's a little tricky. It's a challenging little piece over here. Try to break this down. And then together we're going to go over that chart that we had on the board. Well, we didn't have it on the board yet. We will have it on the board in a moment, but that's in your Gemara packet. The chart that kind of breaks down this Gemara into 4 steps. Essentially what you have is a question in the Gemara. You have a support for the question, which is our Breita, which supports the question, really focusing on Yehuda's opinion. And then you have 2 answers. How to kind of gel our Breita with the Mishnah, and how to explain why the Mishnah specified Erev Pesach. The opinion of Rav Huna, that on Erev Yom Tov, Erev Shabbos, you have to Shkia, Erev Pesach, you have to stop eating Samuch Lemincha. And the second answer of Rav Papa, that on Erev Yom Tov and Erev Shabbos, you have to stop eating at Mincha, but on Erev Pesach, you have to stop eating Samuch Lemincha. So take a second to get this down. I would highly encourage, maybe, if you don't want to write this top part, at least get this chart down, which I love charts, and I think this one is pretty good, if I do say so myself, with this Erev Pesach, Erev Shabbos distinction. You can see that really both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi agree. Well, they have to agree with the Mishnah says stop eating at Samuch Lemincha on Erev Pesach, but you can really see the distinction about Erev Shabbos. Rabbi Yehuda says stop eating at Mincha. Rabbi Yossi says stop eating at Shkia. So maybe get that down, and then take, have your first attempt at trying to go through that chart, which makes you list 4 steps of our Gemara, listing the Shakla V'Tarya.